In this video, I'd like to discuss channel letters and logos. The channel letters and logos product can be used for front lit, reverse lit, open face, H channels, or straight custom channel letters. If we're in an estimate and we're looking under the electric signs category, the first product is channel letters and logos. To look at the channel letters and logo product, the first thing it wants to know is how many sets of letters are they ordering. Then what type of channel letter, such as a front lit, reverse lit, open lit, etc. Based off of this decision, it can make a number of decisions for you. Under the Details tab, you'll see what's defaulting for our option of front lit channel letters. It is deciding that by default we make our returns out of aluminum coil, and that we're bending it using a manual bender. The production method is we weld them together, what types of faces we use, what types of back material we use, and if we're going to add a partition into the interior structure, what do we make it out of? The material utilization refers to how much material do we want to calculate for a costing and consumption basis. In this case, it's defaulting to channel area only, meaning we are only going to utilize the amount of aluminum sheeting or acrylic sheeting that the coil is going to consume. If we change this to half sheet or full sheet, it's going to consume up to the full sheet of the material being used. So if aluminum sheet comes in a 4x8, it's going to utilize up to the 4x8 sheet at a time. And then when we cut out the aluminum and the acrylic, what is our method of cutting as far as the equipment that's being used? And all of this information can default based off the channel type, but it is here in case it needs to be changed. After we choose a channel type, the full text is all of the things being written on the channel. In this case, we're just going to say it's Sam's. Fairly simple. And it knows that that is 4 letters per set. We've got one set, so it's a total of 4 letters. Next, it wants to know the lighting type. And this is generally either LED or neon. First, let's discuss LED. Once we've chosen the LED, then it comes into our different sizes of channels. In this case, the S is larger than the AMS. And let's say that's going to be 36 inches. After that, we have what are those letters. Then what is the font? Now, this could be manually entered or chosen from the list, and things can be added to this list. The text style, meaning is it a block, serif, or script type channel. The text width, this refers to how wide are the channels on average compared to their height. If it's a real wide letter, then it's going to utilize more material for the backing than, say, a narrow one would. The return material, now the materials such as the return, face, and back can also be defaulted based off the channel type. Now you may or may not choose to do so. If based off of size this return is going to vary, I may not wish it to default so that it'll let me choose it each time separately. Based off the return, if it's using a coil, it will default the return depth based off of that coil. If you were using a sheet metal, then it would allow you to manually enter that value. The face material, back material, and partition if there is one, and then the trim cap. Now that we have the first sizes done, we'll go to the second size, and let's say this one is 24 inches, and this refers to the AMS. It is defaulting all my options from size 1 directly into size 2. These can be changed at this point, but just for the convenience factor is why it's defaulted. There's also a third option, and this may be for if there was a hyphen or colon, etc. That may be a third type of size. The logo refers to anything that's going next to it made out of channel material. And this may be an underline or an underscore, or simply a logo itself, such as an apple. Here it needs to know the height and the width of the logo, and then your description, more of a detailed description, and then the return material, return depth, etc. Once we've chosen all of the return information, since we've chosen LEDs, you'll see the LED button below. If we choose LEDs, here it wants to know what type of LED, and you'll see it's broken up by size. And this is intended so that if the S had a different type or different color than the AMS, that can be broken out separately. In this case, it wants to know what type of LED is going to be used, and the stroke referring to how many strips per letter. It is coming up with the length of LED it will assumes will be required to achieve this goal. This can be overwritten here if for some reason that varies. Based off of that, it's how many LED modules themselves are required, any additional hardware that may be required, and the quantity of those, and then I can choose the second one or the second set of LEDs as well. Below that, any power supplies that may be required, and the quantity and the location of their placement. And any additional parts such as switches, conduits, or additional wiring. Also towards the bottom, you'll see a button for the cut vinyl face. This is to add cut vinyl to the acrylic faces to vary their colors. In this case, we're going to choose what plotter, how are we going to cut the vinyl out, and then for each additional size, what type and color of vinyl is required. In this case, I'll say it's an intermediate black vinyl, and it will know the square footage of the face of that material. Also on the right, you'll see two small question mark boxes, and these are help screens showing you some more detail if there's any further questions, breaking out how the letter count, the text style, and the font styles work. Now that we have LEDs, if we look up at the top, there's also an option for neon. Neon will just be discussed in an alternate video for neon letters and logos, or neon signs. Please refer to that video for more information on neon. So next I want to talk about painting. If we need to paint these channel letters, first, does it need to be masked, and what are we masking it with? And if there's any prep, such as an acid wash, any primers that are going to be required, and then what type of paint and what color. And is this a color match, such as a PMS color match? Any additional overcoat? Now at this point, it is making the assumption that all of the letters will be painted with this color, this color in detail. If we go into paint details, this is where it can be broken up by each individual size. So if the S was a different color than the AMS, I could say use size color details and choose exactly what colors are going on which particular channel. Also with that are the raceways. If we're painting just the raceways, it can be used here and then click Pick Raceway Only, and then this calculates just on the raceway area, compared to the bottom, which may be added to the area. Next, let's look at raceway and mounting. It wants to know how is it being mounted, such as on a raceway on studs, the surface, the lead location, and then what type of raceway, such as Are we making this out of an extrusion or pure sheet aluminum or metal stock? If we're making it out of aluminum stock, it wants to know what type of aluminum, and then the height, depth, and length of this channel, this raceway. Now at this point, it is making the assumption that all of these are going on one raceway. If we go to Raceway Details, it allows you to break that up to either say I have multiple quantities of this raceway chosen, or actually two different sizes of raceways altogether. You'll also see how, in general, the raceway is made, such as our type was defaulted to aluminum stock, and then our production, we're going to break and shear it, and then we're going to assemble it by welding. It's also allowing you to see the material breakdown, such as the area, the scrap area, the sheets, and extruded length if you were using extrusion. The Use Manual Scrap adjustment allows you to add a percentage, and therefore adding a percentage for scrap. Below that, we'll have the description and the production notes. Whatever is in the description prints on estimates, invoices, and work orders, where the production note is just on work orders. The Design button allows you to get to the design product, shipping, installation, miscellaneous, so forth. This concludes my video on channel letters and logos. If you have any further questions, please refer to our other videos or call technical support or the implementation department. Thank you.